All right, so man, I got another story for y'all, boy. I tell you, I come across some interesting folks, man. Interesting folks. So check this out. So today, it is 102 degrees Fahrenheit. It's hot. It's hot as hell today. And I believe when I saw the thing, I forget what they call it, but then they also have another temperature where it says it feels like, so it feels like 108 degrees Fahrenheit today. The rest of the week, the temperature is supposed to be like 103, 104, 105, several days throughout the week. And the heat index, or what it feels like, is going to be 108, 110, 111, 113 degrees. It's hot. It was so hot yesterday, power started going out. You know what I mean? Because everybody running their air conditioning and all of that, and the system, they just start shutting down different parts temporarily, so it doesn't overpower the grid. I guess I'm no electrician, so I can't get into all that. But a couple of family actually arrived in the Merida yesterday, and they supposed to be here for 2 weeks on a scouting trip to see if this gonna work out for them. So they called me this morning and was like, hey man, we're gonna go to Centro. I was like, look, don't go to Centro. It's too hot to go to Centro. Talking about they gonna go there at 12 o'clock. I like, do not, I repeat, do not take your behind down to Centro talking about you going walking around sightseeing. Nobody, they ain't listening. I told them they need to stay inside because it's gonna be hot. So they went on down there anyway. Needless to say, about 2 hours later, they called back and said, Cortez, Merida ain't for us. We're leaving tomorrow. Now, they just got here yesterday, a Saturday. They went out today on a Sunday. They said, no, this ain't gonna work. And they leaving tomorrow on Monday. For what was supposed to be a 2-week trip turned into a 2-day trip, and they out of here. Now, I tried to explain to them, like, look, this is just the summertime. The weather gets better. It's not like this year round. And, you know, and I tried to get them to kind of go back to what their goals were. Why? Why are you leaving the States? What was the reason? What's your why? Because I'm telling y'all, you're going to have a million reasons to go back home. And all of them might be legit. You know what I mean? But it's going to take some effort to fight through these things and fight through these reasons to leave, you know, so you can achieve whatever goal you're trying to achieve. So, but in the end, they was like, you know, this is too hot. We didn't think it was going to be this hot. And this is just not the type of lifestyle we're trying to live, even if it's only 2-3 months out the year. This ain't for us. We'd rather find another place. So they're going to go back to the States, go back to the drawing board, and do some more research. And I suggested a few other towns that they could go to instead of flying back to the States. Hey, get online, book an Airbnb in a couple of these other cities in Mexico, so that because it's cheap. Once you're in Mexico, you can fly to other parts very cheap. It's going to be far less than return tickets back to the U.S., but they can fly to another spot, check it out, where the weather's cooler, and see what's going on. But they decided they're gonna go back home. In other words, they ain't coming back to Mexico. I can tell you that right now. But you know what I appreciate? This is what I'm trying to bring home to y'all. I appreciate the fact that they came to investigate, because a lot of people, what they do it backwards. They say they coming for 2 weeks to check things out, see if this was a place that they gonna like or not like, and just see if it's something they can bear. And one of the reasons they did come through the summer was to see if they could tolerate the heat. So I commend them on that. No shame, no bashing, no laughing, none of that. I appreciate them because they didn't make the fundamental mistake that a lot of other folks made. Many other folks sell their stuff, sell their house, sell everything they own, and come here sight unseen. And then they find out a month later this place ain't for them. They did it right. It's the least, this was the least costly way for them to figure it out. We're gonna come check it out for 2 weeks and see what happens. For some folks, you don't need the full 2 weeks. In 2 days, you know if this is gonna work out for you. In their case, they were like, no. And that is cheaper doing it that way. And guess what? Instead of being here for 2 weeks and spending all the money they would have spent for 2 weeks, they don't have to spend that money for 2 weeks. So it's not a complete loss, but they did it the right way. I wish they would have made it worked or rolled it out longer, because listen, you got to go back to those goals. Why are you coming? Why are you wanting to live abroad? Do your research. Don't necessarily just settle on one place just because you see a lot of folks online talking about it's great. Find 3 places and do the research on those 3 places. Go investigate those 3 places. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because see, to me, this heat, I can tolerate it. Now, earlier in the day, this week, I was like, why am I subjecting myself to this heat when I don't have to? Even I get it in my head like, man, I can go somewhere else. And I can. But when I come back to my primary reason, my why, I'm reminded on why I need to be here for now. You know, and I was looking for other places to possibly move to because of my daughter's health situation. And I'm gonna make an update video right after this one, so stay tuned for that. And I was investigating other places. I was looking at other places. No place is perfect. You just have to identify what you can tolerate. So some of the other places I was looking at, they were having landslides on a regular basis, folks coming up missing like that, flooding, just torrential floods, small towns just being wiped out with flood water, bridges and roads just gone because of mudslides, landslides. Some of the other places I was looking at, kidnapping has increased. Tourists and foreigners being kidnapped, held for ransom. And I was like, okay, so I'm pretty good. So all I got to deal with is the heat. Is that the biggest bone I got? Every place is going to have a problem. There is no perfect place. And so for me, the number one reason why I like it here, the safety factor above all, is the number one factor for me sticking around here. And my kids can go out, do what they like. Even in the States, folks are ducking bullets. The high cost for food, the high cost for rent, crime is just at an all-time high. This mentality that you got to work 24/7 just to keep what you got and everybody trying to keep up with the Joneses. I don't have them problems here. So if I ever get the idea that, man, I need to go back, I can just listen to the story that other folks are telling me what they dealing with back home, and I'm like, man, that's enough. That's enough for me to sit my behind right here. So make sure you understand the why, and I encourage you to come down here for yourself and check things out. All of this stuff that you see from other YouTubers online talk about how great the place is, and I'm one of them talking about how great it is. But let me reemphasize this. I want to make sure you hear me, and I've talked about this before. It is not easy coming here trying to make a transition. And it doesn't matter if it's Mexico, doesn't matter if it's Europe, doesn't matter if it's Asia, Southeast Asia, it doesn't matter where it's France, London, Thailand, Spain, Argentina, places where they even speak English. It doesn't matter. The transition is real. The cultural norms are different. It's a real issue for people. This loneliness that you feel is real. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of strength, a lot of mental preparedness, a lot of goal planning and sticking to the plan and fighting the temptation to go back. You can find 1,000,001 reasons to go back home, and half of them might be legitimate, but it's gonna take everything you got to stay put and to stick to the plan. It is completely uncomfortable starting over in a foreign place. Don't look at the glitz and the glam from these clips that you see on YouTube. I try and bring it to you for real. It is not glamorous at all. It is not pretty at all. You're going to go to sleep many nights questioning whether or not you made the right decision. You're going to go to sleep many nights wondering if you should go back. You're going to question yourself every day. The first 3 to 6 months are going to be the worst. The danger that people do when they first arrive, they run out and they go do all the fun stuff. They go do all the tourist stuff. They go see the pyramids. They go to the cenotes. They go out to eat every day. They go hang out with a couple of people that they met online. They hang out and just have a good time. The problem with that is all the fun stuff come to an end. You're going to run out of stuff to do. And then when all that stuff is done, now you just sitting at home by yourself looking at the wall, or sitting at home with your kids and your kids looking at you like, what we going to do today? Well, you done did everything. When you look back at what you were doing at home, you weren't going out 7 days a week, 5 days a week, hanging out, parlaying. You know what I mean? You were going to work 40 hours a week, coming home, cooking dinner, helping the kids do their schoolwork, and going to bed. That's what you was doing. And guess what's going to happen? Once you get back on a regular, normal routine, that's what you're going to be doing here. If you got a remote job, if you work remotely, you're going to work your 40 hours. You're going to make sure your kids done did their schoolwork, or you're going to take them to their activities and come back home, cook dinner, and you taking your butt to bed. This ain't all about, I'm living in Mexico. I'm going to go hang out all day, every day, and just chill and ball out. You might be able to afford to, but that get old real quick. And it ain't fun going by yourself. And again, you didn't do that when you was at home. You probably went out once a week to eat dinner. You might have went out on the weekend to the movies. You might have went out to Fuddruckers and got some burgers and some fries. But you wasn't doing that 5 days a week. And that's what happens when folk get here. When they first arrive, they going out to dinner every day. A lot of that has to do because it's just convenient to go out to dinner, particularly if you're staying in a hotel or in the Airbnb and you don't feel like cooking and all of that because you're exhausted, and that's understandable. But understand, that is not life. That is not living in Merida. That's not what living looks like. My days are pretty boring, with the exception of the days that I go out with taking folks out looking for houses. For the most part, on a regular day, we sleep late because we up late watching Netflix. Last night we watched what's the name of that movie? The Greatest Showman. What's that guy named Jackman, the guy who played in them X-Men movies. My favorite movie. I watched it about 10 times already, but daughter wanted to watch it again. That's the movie I watch when I need to get pumped back up. You know what I mean? Get my mojo back, my theme. You know what I mean? So we watch movies all night, so we wake up late. And they do their schoolwork online. I check emails, I answer emails, I respond. We might go out to lunch. We do eat lunch quite a bit. We do go out. That's just one of the things we just like to do. But we're not going to all the fancy places where the expats go, where the cost is high. We go to we find little local spots where we can all go sit down and eat for $20 and everybody's straight. You know what I mean? 4 or 5 of us can eat for $20 and get something to drink. So that's one of the things we like doing, just hanging out, eating lunch. The daughter, she'll be in the room, she has her new sewing machine, so she's in there playing with stuff. You know, we might make a run to the fabric store because she done ran through her fabric. Might go there, Haley, be on the PlayStation. My other one, she takes her class, she go to boxing school. Sometimes I take her, so other days when I had to rent a car, other days she take Uber and she walk back home just for the exercise. That's what our day look like. We might go when we first got here, we went to the movies all the time. Now we go to movies maybe once or twice a month. You know what I mean? It's we have a boring life. In other words, our life was boring in the States. It's boring here. Most of y'all have a boring life. You're going to have a boring life here. It's not all about the glitz and glam that you see online going to all these places. Now, you have accessibility to all of these places. And because you're new here, you're a new foreigner, now you have more stuff to do maybe once a week or once every other week because you're new in a foreign country. So you have an unlimited number of things that you can go do and entertain. But for the most part, life is going to be the same as it was in the States. It ain't supposed to be funner per se. Yes, you may get more time because you won't have to work as much. Quality of your life improves because now you get to actually spend time with your spouse, spend time with your children, spend time with your family. Won't have to work as many hours, so you're not as stressed. You don't have to worry about the heavy mortgage that you was paying back in the States. You don't have to worry about all of that. So now you're more relaxed. Now, I'm not saying we're boring. We do what we want to do. For example, I'm looking at, if we're still here, which I hope to be in the fall, I'm looking at going to get my pilot license, check the schools out, get my license here. They have a 12-month program that runs about $9,000 US. That's for all the flight simulation time, course curriculum, materials, uniform, and you can pay by the month or you can pay a big chunk. And in 12 months, I have a pilot license if I go through the program. So that's something I'm looking at and considering doing. You know what I mean? Something that I'm in, and now it's affordable. I finally dug in, did the research and see what it costs. Now I'm spending more time building my business, putting together a course, showing folks how they can make money online, whether it's YouTube, creating your own courses, all of that. And if you're interested, send me an email, cartes@cartesross.com. But I have more time to do things. And, and even more now, with my daughter's illness, I'm present. I'm present. So you have to go back to the drawing board and make sure you understand what are you doing this for? Because you're going to have 30 reasons to go back home. Every day you're going to have a reason. It's easy to get here, but you're going to have to fight like crazy to stay here. It's not a walk in the park. It's not fun. It's not easy. You will have fun days. Some days will be easy, but you must fight like crazy to stay here. That's all I can say. Once you come here and your goal is to stay here, make the number one priority is to find a place to live and get in there quick. The first place may not, I'm gonna tell you right now, the first place you get, because I see everybody stressing out about trying to get the perfect place. One, there ain't no perfect place. Your goal is to find a place within your budget. Get in, sit tight, so you can get your bearings straight, so that you can go in, because you're gonna change places. Let's just get that off the table. You're gonna move. Most folks are gonna move. I see that pattern. Not even with my folks who we get placed, but everybody else who move here. I see it's not unusual to see people move 2 and 3 times. I've seen it happen with folks, not my clients, but I've seen it happen all the time. People moving 2 and 3 times over the course of 1 or 2 years. Because when you finally get the first place, you realize what you don't want and don't like in the first place. So when you look for the second place, you know what you want. You know exactly what you want and don't want. And so when you get to the second place, you got the perfect spot. Then you realize, well, some of that stuff that was in the first place, I appreciate. Now you're thinking, okay, so that third time, you finally get it right. Now I'm looking for my place, my third place. So I'm saying all this to say, don't stress yourself out about trying to find the perfect place, because most likely in a year, you're probably going to leave that first place anyway. Or by the second year, you're going to leave that place anyway. there's just nuances you just can't predict or see until you get here. There's a whole nother way of living. What happened in the States and how it worked in the States, it don't work nothing like that here. So there are unknown variables that you're not even aware of until you actually get here and get planted. Trying to find the perfect house is not going to eliminate some of those problems and nuances that going to arise. You know what I mean? And I've said this before. The first house we had a gate. There was a provider. We were locked in behind the gate. People had to go through. And, whenever I ordered delivery stuff for Rappi, because we ordered Rappi quite a bit when we first got here, 2-3 times a day, we always had to run out to the front entrance of that gate to meet the guy at the front gate. Sometimes he came in, most times he didn't. So if it was raining outside, we had to go out in the rain to get our stuff. When it was raining outside, we had to take our trash out to the front entrance of the gate, and we got caught up in that rain. And then when the rain was done, we had to go, the next day we had to go back out, grab our trash can, bring it all the way back through the gate, back to our to our house. So this time in the house I'm in now, there ain't no gate. It's just a driveway. Now when my deliveries come, they come straight to my door. I don't got to go out in the rain because I got this covering above. I don't got to go out in the elements. I can just take my trash to the edge of my driveway and boom. So there's a lot of conveniences. But the other side is now I got jokers coming up, knocking on my door, asking for money, asking for food because I don't got no gate. Now I'm like, I think I want a gate. Even though I want my gate back. You know what I mean? I never feel unsafe because of not having a gate. The gate has not been a safety concern for us at all. Because I don't have a gate, people stand at the edge. For those who don't come up and knock on the door, they stand at the edge of the sidewalk of the driveway and they constantly yell into my house, "Amigo, hola, buenas." You know what I mean? Trying to get our attention so we can come through the window. You know what I mean? But with my gate, never had a problem. Never. You know what I mean? So again, these are little nuances. And let me tell you this, don't let a gate be the deciding factor whether you get a house or not get a house. You know what I mean? Because it won't be a deal breaker for me, but if I can get one that's just not I won't be inside of a provider. I don't want that unless it's situated just right. Again, these are nuances you just are unaware of. Many people tell you don't go in a provider because you're secluded off, but there are some providers meaning it's a gated community, might be 10 houses inside of this gated area where people got to come through to get to the 10 houses. But sometimes you can walk right outside the provider, and then you have your mom and pop stores right outside, little convenience stores, Oxos, taco stands, and all that. Those would be perfect to live in. But there are other providers that's secluded and off to themselves and out in the middle of nowhere, and you must have a car to get around. So all providers are not bad. So just want to clarify that. Because I would live in a provider in the right scenario, in the right situation, because there's some beautiful homes and they're not even necessarily for the security or anything like that. So again, you can't predict this stuff until you get here and start looking, put boots on the ground and whatnot. So my main emphasis of this video, do your research, do your homework, come for an exploratory visit. Don't just take anything you see online, and this doesn't apply just to Mexico or Merida. Don't just believe everybody at what they say. Take your behind out there, spend the money, go out there and see for yourself. I got a young lady who's going to be here at the end of the month. She started traveling. She was 19 years old and went to Africa, lived in Africa at 19. And I'm like, check this out. She got on the phone, paid a consultation to talk to me on the phone, and our consultation, and I was like, I've been watching your videos. My daughter's been watching your videos, and she was just blown away. Y'all watching me, I'm like, yeah, you encouraging my 21-year-old. She's looking at traveling because of your videos, not because of me. You know, she ain't listening to anything I say. She's looking at this young girl. And so we're looking at this girl's videos. The girl was 19 at the time when she moved to Africa. And I asked her on the telephone call, I was like, what was you doing? How were you able to afford to move to Africa? She said, oh, I had my savings. And I'm like, what the heck kind of savings you had at 19 years old? You know what I mean? And she was like, well, I did some research and I was trying to figure out where I could live the longest with the savings that I had. In other words, she was doing her research. She dug deep, dug in, did all the work, and figured that, hey, I can go to this particular part of Africa, and with my savings, I would be able to live there this amount of time on my savings alone. And that's what she did at 19. Now she's 21. And she's coming down here at the end of June for a week or so, I think 7 to 10 days, on an exploratory trip to check out Merida. And she wants to investigate it, see what it's about, and if everything checks out, she'll be right back down here very quick by getting the place to rent. 21 years old, and she has a 1-year-old now. I believe she said he's 1. So she and her baby coming down. 21, y'all. 21 years old. I'm gonna convince her to get this exclusive interview because I want y'all gonna be blown away. The girl look like my little Charlie. With Charlie 12 years old, the girl like she 12. I'm like, damn. My brain wasn't even thinking like that at 19, 20, or 21. And I don't even know if I would have had the courage to do that at such a young age. But she did it. And y'all do the work. She's 21 now. If a 21-year-old is wise enough to say, hey, I'm going to spend some money. I'm going to call 2 or 3 folks to have a consultation with them to kind of pick their brain and see where they at, get a lay of the land, get a feel. If she got enough sense to do that at 21, nobody got no excuse coming down here sight unseen without doing the work. Not only that, she's also spending money to fly down here to check it out. She's not coming sight unseen. Because now she has a baby, she's looking out, being responsible, looking out, making sure everything is on the up and up because it's not just her. She's coming to do the work. You got to do the work. You got to put in the work. None of this happens on its own. You got to put in the work. There's no shortcuts. And I said this yesterday, ain't nobody in Merida going to save you. You got to save yourself. You got to put in the work. You got to come up with the plan. And more importantly, you got to stick to the doggone plan. You got to stick to the plan. Now you can deviate, you can change, you can modify, but the plan is a blueprint. It's a guideline. It's a guidance system. It's helping you stay on track. And yes, you might have to hop off an exit here or there or detour slightly, but it's a blueprint for where you're going and how you're going to get there. The beauty about this life, man, we get to design our own life. We get to design our perfect life. That's perfect for us. We design it. We are only limited by our imagination. Our imagination limits us. If your imagination is limited, you're going to be limited. Do not get in the way of your own head. Dream as big as you can dream. Anybody, all of y'all can do this. You know what I mean? So this young lady coming in and she's doing the work. She gonna check it out. She might decide this ain't for her. I don't know. But she's doing the work. And at a minimum, you need to put in the work. You got to do the work. There's no shortcut. There's no easy way. This is not easy. but it's doable. You gotta get outside of your own comfort zone. Average mediocrity is in comfort. You gotta get outside of that zone. You gotta get uncomfortable. Look at all the hard things and difficult things and challenges you went through in your life. You made it. You went through it. You came out the other side stronger. It wasn't easy. And this ain't gonna be easy. That is a promise. I'm telling you this. This is not gonna be easy. This is hard work. As soon as your butt land, and if you got some children, you better put them in something right away to keep them going. Keep them actively involved in something. You got to. Otherwise, this whole thing gonna crumble and fall apart. If you ain't got them doing nothing, you got to get them busy. And not just them, you go find yourself something to do. Take a karate class, take a dance class, take some Spanish classes, take whatever, take some archery classes, go learn how to be a pilot, go learn how to sew. Whatever it is you've always wanted to do, go do it. Learn how to be a bartender. Learn how to, whatever. Put yourself in something ASAP. Go take some boxing classes. Go get in shape, Zumba classes. Do something. Do not sit in that house and stare at them four walls, because you're going to go crazy and you're going to be on the first plane smoking up out of here. You know what I mean? I promise you. But your imagination, your canvas is whatever you dealing with today. Whatever you dealing with today, tomorrow is a fresh start. But you got to pick up that canvas and start drawing something on that canvas about what you want for yourself, what you want for tomorrow. You got to write it out. You can solve whatever problem you got right now. It can be solved, but you're going to have to sit down and think it through. You're going to have to solve your way out. There is not a problem that cannot be solved. It may require you to make some tough decisions, and some decisions and choices that are uncomfortable, but it's doable. I promise you, if you write out the plan, it will work. In fact, I got a goal setting course. Sign up for it. Sign up for it. I got it down in the description in the link. Sign up for it. You need to map this out. In fact, it's inside of my Move Abroad and Thrive Academy. So either sign up for my academy or sign up for my goal setting course down below. Do that. I wrote this course years ago, but it still works. I use that as the foundation for everything I do. You can solve yourself out of any problem. You can come up with a solution in 24 hours. But you got to get it out of your head and get it on the paper and map it out. You're going to have a solution. The real deal is, are you going to act on the solution? Because you can come up with the solution. You can write out the solution yourself to all the problems you got. But the question is, are you going to take action and do something about it? So that's my talk for today. That's my TED Talk for today. I'm Cortez Ross. If you're looking to move abroad and need some help or assistance, hey, go to the website, moveabroadandthrive.com. I got some free resources. Get on our email list, get exclusive access to exclusive content. If you're not a part of our VIP members only community, sign up for that at the website, moveabroadandthrive.com/join, and book a telephone consultation that help you get out of your own head and plan your escape abroad. Thanks for watching. I'm Cortez Ross.